Hey now. All right. How you doing, dude?
What's going on, you guys?
John and Charles, it's Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, March 16th.
3:16.
3:16.
It is. All right. So
Special
John,
birthday today, guys. Special birthday shout out
Yeah,
to
John.
Van Halen, 31
take it
years
away.
old.
Take it away.
Oh, special day in Halenville, guys.
Wolfgang Van Halen, happy birthday, dude.
This is a Holly Lewis mug, and in musical notes and sign, it spells out Eddie Van Halen. She is quite the artist. Let me tell you. Shout out to Holly Lewis.
Very nice. All right. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, man. Hope you guys are having a good week.
Yeah. Absolutely. A little wet of a week here
Man,
in Carolina.
I got rained on all day.
It's headed this
Not
way.
cold.
Tomorrow's going to pour on the St. Patty's Day parade. Today was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rain here. Going to rain all night. Raining now. You might can hear it. So happy Wednesday. It's almost St. Patty's Day tomorrow, the 17th.
It was so good seeing Tommy Boy the other day on the show. Tommy, we love you.
Yeah, Tommy looked good.
God, he looked good. Yes, he did. He had his color and everything. He looked good, man.
Yeah.
On the mend, Tommy.
That's it.
Yeah. Always nice to see Tommy.
I got to say, last week's show, I got so many people telling me how great it was. It was just Brian was a great guest.
He was.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.
And the crazy thing is, 10 minutes after the show was over, I started thinking of some questions that I still even wanted to ask him. And
same here.
Just, good God. Yeah, it was so much fun. I hope the guys in the chat enjoyed it. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you to Brian. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I got a text before the show from Jimmy Vonvis asking me, if you have Brian on, ask him if he had heard, I guess, somewhere that Roth wanted his guitar players to use 5150 amps. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but he wanted me to ask Brian, I guess, behind there, even if they had Marshalls out front, I guess he wanted maybe the sound coming out of the 5150s. Maybe he figured it would sound more like Van Halen,
Good question.
So
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Next time we see Brian, apparently that must have been what was going around, that he had all his guitar players. He said they have to use that kind of amp, I guess. So, but I don't know, and maybe somebody in the chat even knows. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I told him that if we speak to Brian, we'll definitely find out. I'll ask him that.
Yeah, definitely gonna ask him that in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people in the chat, Tony.
Yeah, dude. Guitar Man 45, Christopher Live Sour.
Guys. Christopher,
guys.
Keith Campbell, Holly Lewis, Ed is there, Polly Walnuts.
Paulie, what's going on, bro?
All right,
Janice.
let's scroll it upward.
Hey, Janice, Tim.
Yeah, Janice.
Charlie S.
Charlie, man.
Tim.
Nice to see you guys. Tim Thomas, Janice. All right.
Dan of New
always a
Jersey. Hey,
pleasure.
Dan.
Yeah, what's going on, bro? Hey, Christopher Sawa, live, brother, live.
Christopher.
Jimmy Ray Hawkins, hey, dude.
Jimmy
Hey,
Ray,
Jimmy
what's
Ray.
up, brother?
Nice to see you.
Did we see Keith Campbell yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Keith is here.
Keith, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
Keith.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I think that's everybody.
Oh, and Nightbot's here too.
Hey,
Nightbot.
what's up, bro?
Yeah. So here we are on Wolf's birthday, and they're playing in Chicago tonight. And I have not heard if Neil is going or not. They're playing at the House of Blues in Chicago tonight on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So
I haven't heard from him.
My guess is he's probably there.
Well, if he is, I want full disclosure, Neil. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
How many days we got to go now? How many weeks we got now, Tony? What? 6.5 till we see Wolfgang?
April 5th.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So we're doing good. We're getting
close. Yeah. Jeff K. Hey, dude.
there. Jeff, what's up, buddy?
Dwight Bailey.
The hitman is in the house. Good to see you, Dwight. Hey, Dwight, I loved your last video, buddy. Cranking that sucker, buddy.
So for trivia tonight, I think in honor of Wolf's birthday today, it'll be easy to remember that this was the first time that I stumped the chat, because I think I've got them.
I got to tell you, I think your trivia question tonight's going to get them.
I do too.
It's going to make them have to do a song and a dance to get it right, I believe.
Fair warning passes going out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a hard one tonight. Yeah. So we'll do trivia later, and I'll announce the answer at the end of the show.
Keith is up for the challenge. Keith Campbell. Bet you don't got us, he says.
Okay.
We'll see, Keith.
We'll see.
I'm not going to bet against Keith Campbell. I'm not crazy. However, I am a little cocky. Let me say this. You're going to get a run for the money, Mr. Keith.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. What a rocker, though. Keith, you are such a rocker, dude.
So I could run trivia like 1 minute before we do the outro at the end of the show, right?
That might be a little too cocky there, Tony. I don't know.
A little bit.
Yes, that is nice.
That is a great. Is that true? Is this the first time he's going to perform on his birthday?
I think it is. I think I saw that post from Wolf earlier.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yesterday.
Man. Awesome, Keith. Awesome.
Yeah, dude. Right on, Keith.
He tweeted a minute ago, so I guess he's backstage bored. Somebody wrote, "Why the blank would you name your kid Wolf? You both must have been on drugs naming that poor kid. It's sick." And his answer was, "Yeah, it's absolute torture. Nobody had that name before. This is child abuse."
That's a great.
That was 1 minute ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a class act.
Wolf plays along sometimes. I wish he wouldn't, personally, but yeah, he doesn't do it much.
No.
He seems to like it, so whatever.
Thank you, Holly.
Very cool, Holly. Very cool girl.
Have you gotten yours yet, Chris?
Hey, Symmetry in the chat, guys.
Hey,
Good to see you,
dude.
Symmetry.
Gret Zeppelin, hey, man.
Gret Zeppelin, what's up, bro? What you playing on, John?
Yeah, dude. Oh,
that's really sharp.
This is the one that Paul Unkert did. He took a Musicraft neck, and I had them send it right to him, and he drilled all the holes and glued the pieces on. This one was originally a Strat. He said to send him a Strat shaped neck.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the beak neck, and literally the next morning he had it all done, and he had it in the mail. He had it all cut and ready to go, and glued all the pieces on. It's cool. You can see it up close. You can see the holes where they. I don't know if you can see it on here. You can't really see it.
No, I can't really see it too much. At least I can. Right there.
That one you can see kind of in the light.
Oh, that's nothing though, man. That looks great.
Yeah, you can't really see.
There's slightly. We tilted that. We can see slightly.
See where the split in the wood is up there? You can see kind of.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Where it was glued on. But yeah, he did a great job on that.
No, that's a beautiful guitar, man, because you play it acoustically and it rings out just as crisp, it's intonated, absolutely perfectly.
It definitely needs a setup, that's for sure. The strings are like, an inch off the neck right now. It's hard to play.
Good. Oh, well.
It looks cool, though.
Darn right it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you play our intro music with?
I did that on the Wolfgang Stealth USA on that one. That's just the perfect guitar. It really is. It's just perfect. It's one of the best guitars I've ever played.
That's awesome.
I have to say. Yeah, you could just tell when you pick that thing up, I have a special too, and the specials are great, but that USA, let me tell you, those USAs are they're unbelievable. They really are. They're real nice. Well, for the price they should be, you know what I mean?
They better be.
I mean,
no.
When you think back to like the Music Man, the Ernie Balls, I mean, those are for the price for those are $1,800. I remember in like 91, I got one over 91. I mean, those guitars still to this day, you pick one up and it's just the necks are incredible on those things.
I've only played, I think, 2 in my life. 2, yeah. They were very nice. Very nice.
Beautiful. I should have never got rid of that guitar. I got rid of it. It was a beautiful one. But I do love that USA. It sounds great on there. And I used a 50-watt 5153, the blue channel. And I had one of those attenuators on it, the cheap one, the Bugera ones, they're like $100, just so I could crank it up to like 5 and get the tubes cooking on it, Sure. And then, but attenuate it down so that my neighbors didn't call the cops. And that's how I.
It was still plenty loud.
Yeah, definitely. And I just put an SM57 on it, and I just recorded it completely dry. And then afterwards, in the mix, I added the harmonizer in the mix, and I added a little delay, and that was it.
You said you had that riff in your head years.
Yeah, at least 20, 25 years.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I said, someday I'll do something with this riff.
Had you learned the riff? How recently did you learn the riff? Let me put it that way. You may have had it in your head for 25 years, but when did you learn it?
Oh, I knew it back then too. I have like a tape of me just jamming on it with
so you
my
learned
friends. So I remember it. Yeah,
I got you.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I said it's too Van Halen to do anything really original with. So, but I always thought it was kind of cool,
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a catchy vibe, dude.
Yeah, so it worked out pretty well for this.
Super.
I actually was going to stretch it out into a whole song. I kind of have it mapped out, but I was going to get Neil involved in it too. Say, hey, come up with some words or something. We'll put something together. And but you know, it's
Dude,
there.
I love Surf's Up Eddie also.
Darn
Yeah, I listened to it. I stepped away from that for a while, and I listened to it again the other day, and it in the car it sounded great. So the mixing and mastering, I actually think it did a pretty decent job on it for once. You know, it sounded pretty good. It held up. You know.
Yeah.
But this I used the same guitar for that one too. You know the
excellent
stuff. Yeah.
Excellent.
But I'd like to stretch it out to a full tune, the theme song here, you know, full 4 minute with a little longer solo and, you know, stuff like that. I have it mapped out. I did a little demo of it. So I do have it like stretched out, but now I got to, and what the great part is my nephew just bought like this $8,600 Roland V drum set. It's like the top of the line Roland V drum. It actually has real drum shells. It looks like a real drum kit. And I guess the new technology in it must be incredible for, you know, grabbing cymbals and stopping it and doing like rim shot. It's like, it's supposed to be amazing. So it's great now. He just got it today. So when he gets that set up, I can just send him files and have him actually play, even using, you know, the sounds and samples and things like that on there. And
that's awesome. That is so cool.
And it's amazing because what you can do is with the technology, it's like he can record it with a drum sound that he likes out there. Send me the file and I can go in and pick, like, you know, Bob Rock, the producer, Bob Rock. I have Bob Rock drum, you know, sounds, and I can just plug in those Bob Rock sounds and I can, you know, have those sounds instead of the ones he sent me. I can pick whatever drum set
anything
I want.
You want. Anything you want.
Incredible. Or you know? Alex Van Halen sound.
Yeah, I wish I was bugging that guy that does Steven Slate drums. They're a great one. I mean, they have like a Led Zeppelin when the levee breaks. It's mind blowing. Look it up on YouTube, Steven Slate drums, and type in like when the levee breaks or Led Zeppelin. It's like, it's incredible. And so I was breaking his chops to do a Van Halen kit because they had like a Red Hot Chili Peppers one on his, like, you know, Steven Slate drums 5. They had all different bands, like, and I mean, they had a Motley Crue one. They had like, I'm like, dude, you have to do Alex Van Halen. What are you, crazy? I mean, it's like, and I bugged him so much that he himself, Steven Slate, emailed me back and he's like, okay, I'll do it. He said, send me 2 songs, you know, which are representative, you think, you know, of his sound. So I sent him I'll Wait as one of them because that snare sound on I'll Wait is just incredible. You know, that's the Alex sound. That's
true.
Perfect.
True.
And when they recorded that, they recorded it without cymbals. So Alex was just hitting he just had the drums. He didn't have any cymbals or hi-hats bleeding over into the mic for the snare. Like,
and then they were added in later.
Song. Right. They added that on that particular song. They added them in later. That's the only one on 1984 they did that. So if you listen to the snare on I'll Wait, it's got that Alex sound. So I sent that as one of them. And then I picked a newer one too. I just sent like a more current one, like As Is, I think, or something like that. I think
John, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you basically, the 2 songs you had to pick weren't necessarily because you liked the song, but it was because you wanted that specific sound. I got you.
And I'll still, to this day, I'll wait, even though that,
once you've got that sound, you can use it wherever you want.
It's perfect.
I got you.
So, so then, he said, okay, I'll do it. And he asked me to send that. And then he never did it. And then I sent him a couple nasty emails over the years. And if I ever get to NAMM, I'll say it again because
they're not in the mail. Oh, bro.
Yeah. And he never responded to me again after that. But I thought that was kind of lame. And they came out with, since then, Steven Slate drums 5. And I said, well, let me see if it's on there. And from what I understand, it wasn't even on there. So, don't buy Steven Slate.
Curious question, just out of the blue. There are other sample patches out there of Alex Van Halen drum patches, aren't there?
There really aren't.
Really?
What you have, John, does really capture as much as I think it sounds great.
Yeah, well, I went to the extra, because I became obsessed with it. And
the way you got that is as painstaking as it gets.
Yeah, so
you literally, piece that thing together.
I sampled it, and I was able to get a clean snare and kick sample of Alex, And then I just built that whole drum track on that thing, one hit at a time with the double bass, everything, the little parts and stuff like that. And
That's
it took
getting
me
it the hard way. But hey, I'm going to say this. What you got out of it for all the effort you put into it was totally worth it.
Oh yeah.
Other than just sampling
I
some other track that evidently I didn't realize it was that hard to get.
Oh, it was just a couple minutes.
I didn't even realize,
I started that thing in December of 2020. I got the idea for it and I just recorded a quick thing. And then it took me from December to basically May to really do the drums and the bass on that. And then, I did the guitars like 3 or 4 days before I put it out on
that was the
Apple
easiest
Music
part.
and stuff like that.
That was the part you already had. So
wow. But even that, you kind of get a little like, you get, as soon as the red light goes on there and you say, oh, I can do it better and I can do it better. And then, you think, oh, why did I erase that first take? That was better. And it's just like, so you have to get to a point where you just say, okay, this is it no matter what, and, I listen back and I say, oh, I would have done something here a little bit differently, but
of course you do. That's life.
Yeah. I guess everybody does that, so.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
All the time.
It sounds great, man.
You know what? I when I send it out to get mastered, that's what really made the difference. I'll be honest with you. It's like, wow, it just brought it louder in your face. I mean, and I like one of my friends would always kept saying, what is it with you and the drums? You always mix the drums way too loud. You're a guitar player. Don't you want the guitar loud? But I just love when the drums sound good and it's just, they
sound good in your tracks,
so
dude.
I'd rather have the guitar sit back a little bit, slightly and just, let the drums shine a little bit.
When you've only got 3 instruments in a mix, there's only 3 things you're dealing with. They got to have a balance to them. But they've all got to shine. They all got to shine. I love the mix on this.
So
I wouldn't change a thing.
For instance, on like the last Van Halen album, A Different Kind of Truth, I thought John Shanks and Ross Hogarth, they said, hey, they must have said, this is the Eddie and Dave reunion album. Eddie and Dave, the two big guys, so we got to crank them up in the mix. And Dave's vocals are way loud in the mix. Eddie's guitar is way loud in the mix. And then Wolfgang's bass is way loud in the mix. And I feel like Alex's drums are not as loud as they should be in the mix for me. I like to feel that kick drum, like when you crank it through the speakers, I like to feel it. And I don't feel it on that. I really think that Alex's drums should have been louder.
When you crank I guess the magic, I don't know this. This is kind of what I kind of hope for when I get like a new, a band that I've seen in concert and I have their audio and I'm listening to it. You want to feel that kick drum in your chest. And when you crank it up on your stereo, hopefully you've got a really high quality system that's able to do it. You should be able to almost emulate the same thing to some degree. Not the same. There's no way you're going to produce that kind of power with a stereo. However, that's what the audio magic is all about. That's what the mixing is supposed to do.
Absolutely. And you listen to
crank up, just for instance, the opening to this show. You take what you did and you crank that sucker up. It gets better the louder you crank it. It gets clearer the louder you crank it until you push your system beyond its, and it's still awesome.
And now
that's what I'm talking about.
You can actually hear the kick drum beats, you know what I mean? And
yes, you can.
Oh, yeah.
But with today's technology too, it's just like, you want to hear that kick drum. You listen to the later Van Halen albums, like Balance is a good example of that. It just, the sound on that is just so wide and just fat and just warm and stereo. It's like, and I love For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge drums on there, but they were a little more like lo-fi, like old Zeppelin with room mics in there. And it was just, it was a big sound and everything like that. But it's so weird about how the same studio and you listen to the drum sound because it's different producers and engineers and mixers. It's how incredible. Like, I mean, you listen to Balance and you can feel that bull in your chest, like when you have it cranked up in there. So I love that. I like drums got to be, punching you in the face,
that.
I don't know if it's the way it was mastered, but my favorite drum sound of Alex is 1984.
I agree with you. It's one of my favorite. It may not be my exact favorite.
It seems like I can crank it up a little louder, and everything Alex does, it just is,
It cuts right through. You're absolutely right. Those Simmons kick drums, I mean, they were that Simmons drums were tastefully used. Everybody like they get a bad rap, but they were tastefully used on 1984. It's not the whole set. It's just the 2 kick drums and the floor toms. That's all it's Simmons on there. It's got the roto toms, which sound incredible. The ones you can like turn like this, don't. You can tighten them up.
Yeah.
My drummer that my friend that I play with, he's got the roto toms, and they sounded great. And then he's got the real snare Alex on there, but those kick drums, they like you said, they cut through that mix. And the weird thing is, like Michael Anthony's bass, or Eddie, whatever he was playing on that, the frequencies are basically locked in with that kick drum, frequencies, and it almost sounds like it's one instrument when the bass and the drums are playing together. It's like
interesting.
The frequencies are just locked in. The bass doesn't. They always mix the bass, lower for some reason, but you can feel it and you can hear it on 1984 more.
It's powerful too.
Yeah, it definitely is
very powerful.
I think that's a great, and for what they had, 16 track and that tiny room. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 pictures of the setup that they had there, and Eddie playing in the same room with him. It was just like, I don't know how they got that incredible drum sound on that album. It still sounds great to this day to me. Anyway,
in the clubs, once in a while, guys would show up with North drums or Simmons drums, and I gotta tell you, every single time a band showed up and they played them, and no mainstream band ever showed up. No band that was like making it ever had those drums. But every once in a while, some off band would show up, and they were very expensive. Yeah. So this would have been a band where, maybe, the kid had some money.
Yeah.
But the sound was horrible. It was horrible. The audio guys I would always hear them talking in the hallway about, oh, look what we got to deal with. And there always would be some hush mumbling, and the sound, the end result was horrific.
Yeah,
every time in the clubs. One time, funny, I was standing with Tommy Lee, just ironically, and we were standing at the backstage door looking down on the stage, and there was a drummer down there. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say the band because I'm not going to promote negative shit. However, his sound was horrific. It was horrible. It sounded like, he could have literally had a metal trash can and it would have been almost as audible. It was horrible. And Tommy was standing there, and he looks at me and he goes, how can that guy, play these drums like that live? Listen to that sound. It's horrific. And he says, and those things you see, and he pointed at this one drum, and he says, that drum set that I'm looking at was $3,500 in 1981.
Right.
Or something like that, which was ridiculous. Some of the most expensive percussion instruments in the club, and the sound was just horrific.
Yeah, I believe that. So in the chat here, somebody's asking about it. The only song that on 1984 that they recorded the cymbals and hi-hats separately was just I'll Wait. So if you listen to that, when you listen, they always talk about the mistake Alex made when he overdubbed it. Like right at the very beginning, there's a tom roll right before Dave starts to sing. It goes, dun, 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 dun. And then normally a drummer would hit the crash cymbal right there as the vocal start. Well, Alex forgot to hit the crash cymbal there. And Eddie thought Alex was mad, and Eddie thought it sounded great because everybody's waiting for that crash cymbal that doesn't come. So he said, just leave it that way. And so when next time you listen to I'll Wait, when you hear that right before the vocal start, Alex forgot to hit the, the crash cymbal there, and they kept it that way. But that was the only one that everything else was all done. That's why the snare sounds so clean on I'll Wait, is because he's not getting the bleed over from the, the cymbals and the hi-hat on the mic, the, SM57 or whatever they had on the snare. So, that's why it's so clean sounding I'll Wait. And that's why I pointed that one as the perfect Alex snare sound on that particular song. But
was that you who was talking about Gaffer's tape? Was that you who made?
He definitely. My nephew went to this same nephew in Santa Barbara that got this kit that I was talking about.
This is one of my favorite stories, John. This is so underground. I love this.
He went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Went to the whole museum, and he was only there for Alex's drums, but he went and saw everything first, and then he went back to Alex's drums. But right before he left, climbed up behind the kit with his phone and took pictures underneath the snare drum, like multiple shots on there. Got the security came and grabbed him and escorted him out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But he was like, I didn't care. I saw everything I wanted to see, and I got the pixers that I wanted to see of Alex's snare drum. So and he's got like recordings. One day I got to get them from him, but of him tuning his drums and taping with the gaffer's tape. You know, he said Alex had it under the head too, I guess, you know, at least maybe he was doing that live, under and on top of the head. So, and I mean, he had it all down, and he got the sound pretty close. I got some recordings of it. It's, you know, it is pretty close. So, but yeah, he was nuts like that. But one thing I wanted to mention is like, so, you know, Alex was like an innovator in a lot of ways that people don't even realize. You know, with the in-ear monitors, you know, his tech was the guy who created Ultimate Ears. And
Really?
I forget who his tech was at the time. Yeah. So, you know, Alex is pretty much deaf by 5150. I think he lost 70% in one ear.
How could he not be?
Right. And he was using, if you look at the like Live Without a Net, he had basically a PA on either side, like, I mean, big cabinets on him, you know, blowing Eddie's guitar and his that's what he heard there. But it was an actual PA, separate PA just for Alex there to, you know, for sound. So his tech created these the in-ear monitors, and I mean, they're pretty complicated. They have like a bass and a treble thing inside them. I mean, it's high-tech stuff, but I don't know if Alex bankrolled him or what, helped him get it started, the company, but so now they took off and everybody uses those in-ear monitors.
Is he the guy that approached Brian Johnson from AC/DC and actually gave him the opportunity to have another life singing for AC/DC?
I don't know.
I think that's the guy.
He may have.
He made a special pair for him because he absolutely really had lost, like,
yeah,
I don't know what percentage of his hearing he lost.
He
was deaf, essentially.
This was a later tech of his.
I got you.
I forget what's the early tech, Alex's tech? It's on the tip of my tongue ever since.
Greg Emerson was one. It wasn't
Greg Emerson. That's who I'm thinking.
This wasn't Greg Emerson. I don't know if Greg. I think
he's the early tech. Yeah, right.
But I thought for some reason the name might have been Jerry or so. I don't know. He was just working on whatever tour. It was like it might have been the Balance Tour or Foreign Lawful Carnal, something like that. It was in the later years like that. But so he and the company took off. Ultimate Ears are huge now. They make like regular earbuds for people like us just listening to music. I mean, they do it. They make everything now. Mm-hmm. But so you know, Alex was partially responsible for bringing that, and everybody uses those now. Every musician, even Eddie, was using them on the final Van Halen tour. Towards the end of the tour, he had switched to the in-ears. You know what I mean? And I don't think he liked them. He still liked the wedge monitors, but he did switch to them at the end, towards the end. And the other thing, I don't think it was John Douglas. It was the guy probably in between Greg Emerson and John Douglas. But the other thing Alex did before really anybody else did was he was triggering his kick drum before anybody else did. And that every band virtually, even now, they have a little trigger on the front of their, like a sensor that's on their kick drum. And they don't, you know, they may have a mic in the kick drum. They may blend it together or whatever like that. But basically it's triggering a sample.
Or on any drum, any tom. Or
Exactly. You got it. Exactly. But Alex was the first one to do that with his kicks. And he started doing it, I think, I'm pretty sure it was during the Diver Down tour, at some point during the Diver Down tour. And it was definitely at the US Festival. He had them triggered there too. Mm-hmm. And he was triggering the Simmons kick drums. That's why, you know, it was different. And then everybody does that. You know what I mean?
See, at the time I didn't know any of this stuff. I still don't know a whole lot, but at the time I was completely unaware of all that. I just know that the sound was monstrous and huge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that, you know, your chest would cave in from the kick drum sound there, but that was triggering too. And he was like one of the first people that did that. So, you know, he doesn't get a lot of credit for that. And, you know, they never really triggered, they never triggered a snare. I don't know if they ever, you know, some bands probably mix it together, you know, to do that. But, you know, the snare is hard to do because if you're doing the technology, if you're trying to do a drum roll on the snare or something, it's not going to track that right. You know what I mean? It's going to sound horrible. But the kick drum, you can get away with doing, you know, double bass and stuff like that on it. It was a bit easier, but so
because it's two separate sensors instead of one.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I mean, now the technology is better. You probably, you know, could do something like that. But I mean, they have like that Steven Slade and all these other ones. They have a thing where you can record your drums in a room with your acoustic drums, with like crappy microphones even. And I guess you can use this part of their program that they have where you assign, I guess, whenever the level goes up, there's a certain level, you assign a drum to that, you know, when that hit, and it actually it triggers the sample for that, and you can turn off you don't hear your regular drums. You can trigger the samples off just from the microphones even. So
do you use Positive Grid by any chance?
I do. I have it. Yeah.
Have you used that? I forget what they call it. I haven't actually tried to but they have a same thing you're talking about. It samples, and I can turn a single humbucker into a dual humbucker with different kinds of humbuckers.
Yeah.
I'm not using it because I have what I want on the guitar already. I'm not trying to change, things, but it was just a great recording tool. That's essentially what you're talking about here, just a different form.
Exactly. It's the same thing for like drums. So it's like,
I'm
it's
an
amazing.
audio idiot, so.
The stuff you can do. Right. Exactly. If you read the manuals and learn stuff, it's amazing what you can do, which I don't do. So it's,
I have a son. The first thing he does when he opens up something, if it's from IKEA, he just throws the directions away and starts fumbling with it.
That's it.
It took me a long time to break him of that habit. I still haven't fully
It's
done
like
it.
those blinds that you like have in your living room, the ones where you those white things.
Levelers.
And when you're done hanging them, you got all these parts left over.
That's right.
Every time I hang, I go, why
it's
do
a
they put those
miracle
crap
they
in
work
here?
sometimes,
I just put the screws in the plastic thing. I shove it in there, and okay, I'm done. And there's all these other
pull the
pieces.
string, and everything comes down.
Yeah, exactly.
No, been there, done that, dude.
Exactly.
No, John, those are the drum sounds on your tracks are great. We all go and listen to ISO tracks on YouTube, but there's ISO tracks that have both Michael and Alex, and that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they locked in very well
Check
together,
that out. Yeah. There's certain songs that I've heard only and they just wail. They just wail.
Yeah.
Hey guys, KXM Rock is in the chat. I want to give him a shout out and then let him know he's giving away his age because he says he was 15 years old during Diver Down. So there you go, bro.
So was I. I was 14.
I was 105. It's all good.
We were joking about that before the show, and so you used to look out in the audience of like a rock show, like a Van Halen show, and you could kind of tell it was a Van Halen show. If you know what I mean, you kind of read between those lines, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, but now that we're a couple of years older, we all look like this.
Yeah. Dude. I think I'm in that crowd, bro.
I know, man. There we are.
That's it. That's a great picture. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I want to see the version of that picture 10 years from now. That'll be even better.
Yeah, right. These front of house engineer guys, they especially for hard rock bands like that, they mic the snare and stuff like that, but they focus on the downbeat for those kind of bands. That's why the kick drums are punching you in the chest. If you notice, the snares usually aren't as loud. It's the kick drums that cut through it like hard rock and metal concerts. It's like that downbeat in your chest. And I guess it's by design because they want people to get pumped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Downbeat. There was one time Rat was at the Whiskey and they were going through different drummers, and I can't remember this drummer's name. He was there for one show, and then he was gone. But he was the first drummer other than Alex Van Halen, and he was just copying Alex. He had a set of, I think they were, I want to say, they were Ludwig. They were Ludwig, but they were 22-inch kick drums, so they were smaller. But he double stacked them, so he had 4 of the same size. They weren't, one wasn't like a 22 and a 24, 24 and a 26.
Right.
They were the same size essentially, but he had them barreled, stacked on top of each other. And I will say this, he had an absolutely monstrous club tone. And I remember hearing it for the first time and saying, whoa, that's unique. But he was no Bobby Blotzer, and he didn't last. But that was the first time I'd seen anyone double stack. And he was just trying to copy Alex. Alex had already done it. But I noticed the tone.
I noticed had to be out that night.
Yeah, I just noticed that tone immediately.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you listen to Alex's drums. So like we're talking about how great 1984 sounds. So 5150, the only real difference was that he added Simmons toms to that, but it sounds so dated. That's the only difference. You know, he was using the Simmons kicks on 1984. He used them on 5150. He was using the real snare on 5150 and 1984. He's using real cymbals, and he was using the Simmons floor toms on 1984. But he was using Simmons floor toms on 5150. But he was also using all regular Simmons toms on 5150. And that's really the only difference as far as the drum sound. It's recorded in the same tiny room. But it sounds so dated simply because of those toms. They make it sound, and I don't
never really liked those toms. I was saying that story earlier in the club, and they never sounded good. And that what I said about Tommy said to me about the drums, he followed it up with this. He said, Chuck, he says, wood. I want wood. I want at least 13 ply. That's what came out of his mouth. 13 ply. I want them to ring. They have to resonate. And he starts going into this nerdy drum stuff. I didn't even know what he was talking about at the time. I just knew he was cool. Right. And so he was talking about it. And it's interesting. My question is this. The sound that Alex was getting out of using all those North drums, they didn't sound like North drums to me. They sound like synthesized versions of North drums, like they've been completely doctored and they're being sent through some kind of a, I mean, I know they're doing something with them. I just would love to know what.
Live, you're saying?
That good, because they have such a, see, it's not the sound the drum makes, it's that crappy ring, that thwaw. It's just like a thwaw sound. Right. And they're very hard to mic and to get that nasty sound out of them, almost like a rattle. Now, maybe I guess I would have to admit that they probably, since they're still making the drum, or at least they made it for several years, they got better at it. Maybe that's a thing. But it just seems to me that Alex's the drum tone that you hear, especially out of his toms and his kick drums, seems like it's synthesized, like it's remastered live. Like it's going through
it's a very unique kind of sound. Like somebody described that. I don't know if it was in here or somewhere. It's almost like a coffee can. His drums,
it's not natural.
His toms sound almost like coffee can, like big coffee cans. It's like, well, I mean, it's a very unique. It's his thing. You know, it's a unique sound.
It is his thing. It's his own sound, and nobody else has it.
No, exactly.
And I swear to God, you can take a set of North drums and set them up, and you'll never get that tone ever. Just beating on them. I don't care what you do.
And he doesn't. Alex won't let on anything either. Andy Johns, when he did Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge, he said when Alex was doing with his snare, he goes, "I'm not going to tell you." He says to anybody in the interview, he said that's his own thing. He goes, "I never thought it would work." He goes, "But guess what?" He goes, "It works perfectly. It works very well." Yeah. But he goes, "I won't tell you." And then I remember I actually asked Alex, my nephew and I, we were talking to Alex, and we asked him, we say, "How do you get what do you do to get the snare? What do you do to get the snare?" And he wouldn't tell us. All he would say is it's all in the tuning, which it is partially in the tuning, but the tuning and the gaffer's tape is.
Well, it's interesting because the gaffer's tape, you think of gaffer's tape on a snare drum. You think of the heads on the drum and you gaffer taping the bottom and the top, or the top, maybe a square over here, whatever. Guys have their different thing. I've seen some guys do like an octagon shape on it. Right. And the bottom. What about inside before you put the head on? What does he do inside? Does he tape, say, the bottom?
Yeah, my nephew and the pictures that he had, and I forget which kid is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is it the Fair Warning or Diver? It might be Fair Warning kid, isn't it?
It's the Fair Warning, I do believe. Yeah. I think it's Fair Warning.
He said he had gaffer's tape under the batter head, I guess.
Underneath on the outside.
Yeah. Inside. He had the tape on
the inside too, though.
Yeah, he had it on there inside too. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting.
There you go. That's my question. That was it.
And my nephew duplicated it pretty well. I gotta find it, or I have him send it to me again. That way, when he had his acoustic drum set up, and it was pretty good. It sounded pretty close.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I tried playing around on some. My son-in-law, he got a set of electric drums, kind of similar to what you're talking about. Not as high end, but nice double kicks. I can't wrap my head around them. I can't get used to them. When you strike them with the stick, the recoil back from the stick isn't the same. So it's almost it's a whole different thing. I can't get into it. But then again, I'm not wholeheartedly trying. I was sitting on
I hear you. I hear. It's just amazing though that you could record, your guitars could sound like crap. You know, I've like recorded things where I thought the guitar sounded horrible, but if you put drums on there that sound good, they make everything sound good. You know, it's amazing how drums can make bad guitars sound good. And you know, when you, because I hear a guitar, I'm like, oh, this sounds terrible. I'm gonna have to redo this, do something with it. But as soon as you put a drum track on, it's like, wow, it just sounds like. Even if you listen to the isolated tracks, sometimes Eddie's guitar does not sound all that great on the isolated tracks.
No,
you know?
And sometimes he has sort of a I think he almost does it on purpose, where God, I don't want to say this wrong. He intentionally dirties up his notes. He dirties things up.
Yeah.
Makes them not sound crisp and clean when he sometimes will make them sound crisp and clean. He uses it like as one of his little things he does in his artillery, you know. You don't necessarily want that guitar to sound so crisp and clean and pure, you know.
What makes it is when Ed and Al, most of the time it's the drummer and the bass player, but Ed and Al, imagine the role that Mike had with the brothers and the music and stuff that they're working up, when normally he would probably, as a bass player, be used to working it up with a drummer himself, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, you listen to Hot for Teacher. So, you know, when they recorded that, it was obviously Eddie playing the guitar and Alex playing the drums, and they you know, they recorded together live like that. Obviously, there's probably no click track at all. Obviously, Alex was just playing and Eddie was playing the guitar with him through the whole song. Chances are Eddie went back and redid the guitars because you have that leisure. I know Stuart Copeland always talks about that with the Police. I had to go in there and just do my one take. And he goes, and then these guys would go back in and erase it and redo all their guitars till they got them sounding perfect. He goes, but I had my one shot to go in there and 20 minutes to do the drum. Like he said, every little thing she does is magic. He goes, that was one take. And he goes, and then those guys went in and just like erased all their stuff and spent like 2 weeks doing all the, the other parts for it or whatever. He goes, but so I'm sure it's the same with Eddie and Alex. Eddie probably went back and redid the guitars for Hot for Teacher. And then, the bass was overdubbed on Hot for Teacher. Eddie overdubbed the bass on that. It's not Mike playing on that. And but if you listen to the isolated bass track of Hot for Teacher on YouTube, everybody check it out. It sounds so sloppy. If you hear that, but it's amazing when you put that in there with the drums, the mix, it just locks in and it just sounds incredible. And the same as like Eddie's guitar. Like if you listen to Panama, the isolated track, it just sounds like, I'm like, wow, that's that's it. That's the guitar sound. But when you put it in that picture with those drums in there like that, it just sounds incredible,
Yeah.
Back to Hot for Teacher for a minute.
Yep.
I just thought of something and it just jumped out at me, and I hadn't really thought of this before, but I've noticed it and now I'm thinking about it. Eddie did the bass line on that song.
That's right.
And that's why it doesn't sound like normal Van Halen to me.
Yeah.
He uses a pick when he does the bass line. He doesn't do it with his fingers.
Exactly.
Mike
in
Anthony
the
is
later
a
years,
Mike
switched to his fingers.
He
In the later
strings
years.
a specific way. He has a specific vibe to his bass playing, and it's not even there.
Yeah, a little trivia on that is on the original Hot for Teacher, they didn't use it. They I guess erased that little part on there on the final mix. They didn't put it in there. But Eddie was tapping the beginning part,
Right.
on the bass also. It was like a Billy Sheehan, Steve Vai kind of the guitar and the bass were both tapping all the parts on there. And I didn't know if, it just you put on the original. I think it's on there somewhere. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, it made it. Yeah.
And they didn't use that.
Yeah.
And then of course my way of thinking is like, well, Eddie didn't want people to think that Mike was doing that and get Mike to get any credit for that because this is his showcase.
Listen to the Hot for Teacher, the ISO of the bass and drums. You can hear it on that.
Oh yeah, you can hear it on that one.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, but it's not. It doesn't end up on the album mix, and
why
for
did
whatever
he do
reason.
That? Why did he do that? Was he mad at Mike for something, and we just didn't think Mike could handle it? Or?
I just think that he wanted. It says, this is my invention. This is I came up with this thing's going to blow people's minds. I don't want Mike getting maybe a little credit for being able. Even though Eddie did it on the album, I'm sure. Obviously, it's not. Mike could definitely play that. You know what I mean? It's not like something he couldn't.
Yeah, he can play it.
Yeah,
seen him do it.
Yeah, but it's that's just the way I'm thinking and putting my head in there, saying, "Well, Eddie probably thought this. He didn't want Mike to get the credit. I came up with it. It's my thing. I played it on there. So
wow.
but it was kind of
interesting.
like Vi and Sheehan 3 years before Vi and Sheehan. You know what I mean? It would be something like
It was just like Vi and Sheehan, dude. It was just like that.
Yeah, exactly. So
that is so cool. That is so cool. I had never even thought about that.
It is kind of neat. But I really, Jimmy Ray Hawkins mentioned it in here. It's like we're talking about drums on this show. It's like, we usually don't talk about it, but on this, we talk about anything Van Halen on here. So
this is Halenville, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's just incredible how it's like, we thought the drums on 1984. A lot of people think they sound great on that album. I'm not a fan of the early Van Halen album drums. I thought Van Halen 1, they sounded better, the drums, than they did on Van Halen 2. That's for sure. I think, I mentioned when, I forget who was on, which guest. It was Greg Renoff was on. Mm-hmm. That Diver Down, to me, you could start to hear it a little bit on Fair Warning. Alex's personality, his snare, that distinct sound was starting to, on parts of Fair Warning, you could hear it. But then on Diver Down, it really started to, you could hear that definite Alex sound. After that, now it's, it's everywhere. It's his signature. It's his voice.
How their sound evolved. Each of their sounds evolved.
Yeah, they definitely.
And mainly, I'm just talking the Roth era. Massive changes through each album, and then the same thing kept going. Eddie Van Halen just kept progressing as a guitar player, and Alex kept progressing as a drummer. Yeah. And I think Eddie Van Halen was a better guitar player. The day he passed away than he was the day I first saw him. He just always got better. He always did. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen, dude. My goodness.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I always say there was more than one Brown sound. Everybody says we know that Eddie was referring to Alex's snare, which we're talking about here tonight. But
right.
Everybody, exactly it's taken on Eddie's guitar tone is the Brown sound. Even though he was talking about the snare, but I always say there was more than one Brown sound, because you could look at the Van Halen 1 Brown sound, you could look at the Fair Warning, it evolved, like you said, Chuck, exactly like the Women and Children First. Van Halen 2, that was a ferocious sound. It wasn't as there wasn't as much plate reverb on Van Halen 2 as there was on Van Halen 1. And I know Eddie and Alex hated plate reverb. And, you go to 1984 and there's not as much on there at all. Don still put it on.
Noticeable difference. Noticeable.
Yeah, exactly. And then the later albums.
But I wouldn't change a thing.
No,
I agree. Plate reverb on 1 was.
Oh, yeah.
So unique, and it was just unique, and it hadn't been overplayed in any way because nobody had heard it. It was so huge,
Iconic.
I can remember sitting. I had a little BMW, and me and my girlfriend and a couple of friends would be in the back seat, and we'd be up in Rancho Palos Verdes, looking down into Los Angeles at the lights from looking from south to north. Beautiful view, and playing Van Halen 1. Holy crap, man!
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't go back. Unfortunately, can't go back.
You're right. But and he just evolved after that, and he didn't even like that sound on Van Halen 1. Eddie, he didn't like it at all. Apparently, he was just like,
and I never wrapped my head around that. It was the biggest, hugest thing that was there on the planet Earth at the time, and he didn't like it. For our benefit, he kept evolving. He was always driven to keep, just get better and better. So we reaped the benefit of that.
And he had distinct phases in his sound. It's like, he started. A lot of people think he started even using the harmonizer, the original Eventide. I guess, I don't know, was it the 910 or something like that? The original one.
I'm not sure.
On as far back as like Women and Children First. I know Fair Warning it was there, but I had heard people say Women and Children First, and maybe even on Van Halen 2 there was some, maybe an early, version of, I don't know what it was, the 910 was even around then, but
I don't really hear it there. I don't really hear it there as much.
I guess on stuff like Women in Love or something like that. Maybe I don't know if people were talking about it there. I'd heard them saying it. It was
that's
far
a
back
unique
though.
tone.
Definitely,
Women in Love. That was that's a beautiful tone, man.
Yeah. But it's funny how
he doesn't have a bad tone.
No, he doesn't.
Van Halen, on any album he ever did, there's never been a tone where I said, "Oh, geez, I hate that."
Yeah, it's
never,
definitely true. But then as time went on, he started ramping up the harmonizer, in 1984, where his tone was cleaner. That's my favorite Eddie tone, I think, ever, is 1984, because it's clean. I mean, he rolls off that volume knob a slight bit, and all those notes clean up. You know what I mean? They just sound with sustain. They have sustain, and they clean up. To me, that's an incredible sound.
Fantastic. My favorite Eddie Van Halen tone is. Number one.
Yeah, there
The
you go. I
very
can see that.
beginning. The very beginning. It was. That's just the benchmark. I'm sorry, it's the benchmark.
I agree. That's what
You know,
brought
um,
people attention to it. You know.
well,
Now
the
you
thing about it is,
talking about tone only.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
When you talk about the album, well, you're not really hearing his tone live, and so his live tone was the album was nothing but a fragment of a dream of what his actual live tone was. It was trying to emulate it, and I guess vice versa. But his live tone in 1981, I still to this day, the only guitar player, there's two guitar players I've heard who had a tone that I would consider to be as good as it, not better, but as good. And one is John Sykes. I saw him with Whitesnake, and George Lynch with Dawkins. And those are my three favorite tones, actually. And they're old tones. They're 80s tones. And all this technology and all the everything that's been produced after the fact, I think they're just grasping at straws to try to get, No,
I think you're right about that. It's just like, I think that the guitar tones of the 80s are unmatched by anything after that. The 90s, the up till now, nothing has matched those tube tones in the 80s.
They're trying to reinvent a wheel. And I saw a picture, Mr. Brian Jones, he was on a couple of days ago. Well, he's got a YouTube video he did, one of his obscure videos, and he's just in this room and he's playing a song, and I forget the actual song, but he's playing with a couple of buddies and they're doing it. It's a COVID, I believe it was a COVID kind of a thing, and he's in his place and this guy's there and they put it all together. And he is sitting in front of a wall of the most vintage Marshalls on the planet. There's 4 or 5, and they're stacked all weird. And then he's on top of about 4 or 5 4x12, and everything there is at least ancient. And and that's really, when I look at that, I laughed, because he's got what is now 40-plus-year-old technology, and it's what everybody wants.
You're right. And Chuck,
not what everybody wants, but everybody who wants that tone, that's what
right.
They want,
That's one thing I wanted Brian Young to talk about, because Brian Young is a tone, what's the word? What's Rosen's book called? What is it called again?
Talking about tone chaser?
Tone chaser.
Brian Young is a tone chaser too, and he's got vintage Marshall. You got to see his stuff, and he was a Jose Arredondo guy too. So I want to pick Brian's brain about that, because he's got some sick Marshalls. Brian,
he's got some of the best vintage gear. It's just,
you got it.
It's John. We'd have had a heyday with him. We got to get him on here soon.
We got to get Brian back one night on here.
Let me show you guys something. Have you seen this before?
Oh, dude, that's cool, man.
It's Ross Halfin's book.
That's he's a photographer, right?
Yeah.
We attempted to get him on. So Tony, tell your story about how you got the book, and then I'll go into that a little bit.
So
cool.
This showed up from Ron Pio with a nice letter. Thank you so much, Ron.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, so it comes with like this outer sleeve thing. And this book is a really heavy book. Probably weighs more than a guitar.
Oh, that's a great pick on the back.
Let me show you some of these.
Yeah, so Halfin's got a couple of the most iconic Eddie shots too. The one where he's kind of crouched down on the floor in the first tour, I guess it's probably one of the. There you go. Look at that.
So that's signed.
He's got those Donington with the when Eddie's wearing like the Raiders t-shirt. He took those shots.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, Tony, right? These are from the first tour when they were in England, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these shots are.
This is from the American Invasion. Van Halen took over the freaking world, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to find a better way to do this. All right.
So I tried to get him on the show, but he did not respond.
Yeah.
Figured I'd give it a shot. He could
So
plug his book. Yes, Ron Pio, another old-time VH MLer. You got that right, Ed.
Right there is
you know
fantastic.
who?
That's one of the most iconic Eddie shots right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like 5 pounds, Paulie Walnut said. That's a heavy book, Tony, right?
it is a monster.
Hey, Tony, Jimmy Ray Hawkins in the chat. I'm reading his poster. It says, Tony, link to order.
We got to find one.
We can
With a
find
question mark.
one.
Yeah.
I want one.
Ross Halfin, Edward Van Halen.
Yes.
Really
I think you go to rosshalfin.com because I tried to contact him on there and I didn't get any.
So he's in the UK now.
Mhm.
So
But I know he does work in LA too sometimes. I know that.
Yeah. But back then he's over there and he covered when they were opening shows with Black Sabbath in Europe. So
that was such a pivotal time.
And when too, and I'll show you some there, when after Van Halen did the US leg in 1984, they went to Europe, plus the shots you see in the backstage area against that fence. That's his work. Let me skip forward just a little bit.
Yeah, rosshalfin.com. You can go there and there's a shop option on there. And in the shop option, there's only t-shirts. I don't know why he doesn't have his book on there. I don't know.
I would check eBay.
I mean, the book only came out.
I'm going to check eBay. Look at that, man.
Yeah.
That is just awesome. Is it all photographs, Tony?
There's a couple of intros to certain sections.
Yeah, that's a great photo too. I've seen that before. That's a wonderful photo. How cool is that?
I'm looking at Rufus Publications. RUFUSpublications.com, and they have the book on there, and it's in Great Britain, and it's in stock, and it's 89 pounds. But I mean, I don't know if you can find it. If anybody in the chat sees where you can order it over here. Oh, there's different versions of it. There's one that's wow. There's a bundle. I don't know what the bundle is, but one version of the book is 275 pounds.
I like
one
this
is
picture.
1,100 pounds.
What?
British pounds. Yeah, 1,100. I don't know. It's sold out, that one.
Killer.
Oh, it includes a standard edition book with it. I guess there's the big book and a standard edition.
That's so cool.
But yeah. Ron, thank you so much, dude.
And
very cool, Ron.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip
awesome,
forward.
Ron. Very cool.
Check this out.
Look at that.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I think there's another. Yeah, check this out.
Keith says the 395 one sold out in minutes. Yeah, that's incredible. That is a good collectible there for people who collect. That is a serious collectible there.
super cool, dude.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And Zlaz has a book coming out too soon.
Yes, he does. All right. I'm trying to skip forward.
Oh, I like that.
All right. This is a big, big book. Let me. Oh, here's a good one.
Oh, I like that. Nice bumblebee, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, he took all these, and they are quite amazing. All right, so here's some from 1984 that he took.
There you go.
Oh, dude.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool, John?
You've never seen some of these photos.
No, you ain't. Here you go.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's a great shot. Neil Sean
Neil
in the
Sean,
background.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh, that's great. Excellent.
Yeah.
I like seeing pictures of Eddie and Mike together, happy times.
Yeah, you got that right.
That's a great shot of the guitar.
Yeah.
Tracy Love, Bumblebee, right down the road from me in Arlington, Texas, with Dimebag.
There's another great shot of it.
Yeah, that's another great one of the 5150. Tony, you're gonna have to take a nice picture of that and text it to me of the guitar.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. Very cool.
So where is it at? All right, here's one.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. John Entwistle, Neil Sean, and Eddie. The Ox. Yeah, Ed, I think Zlaz's book does have never published pics too. I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, yeah.
I think it has a
Yeah.
lot of them. Yeah, outtakes from photo shoots and all kinds of stuff.
So that 84 in Europe backstage stuff, this right here,
Yeah,
is his work. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Those are famous shots there. We've all seen these.
Yeah.
There's another good one of Eddie and Mike there too. That's good. Remember the good times.
Oh yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Ray, you're right. We'll all be always amazed at Ed's one bridge pickup, the only pickup that he really used. It's amazing, right? It's incredible what he did with that.
I think that was right at the end of the tour. Yeah.
I guess after that, didn't they went to Germany after that and a couple other spots, I think, right?
Yeah, but I think that is Germany, actually.
Oh, you think so? I thought that was Donington. That's Germany.
I don't know. It might be.
Yeah. And I'll throw up my little trivia thing that always blows my mind.
And they were near each other a week or two apart, but yeah.
Because I think the tour ended like September 2nd of 1984. The 1984 tour ended in Nuremberg, Germany, I believe. Yeah. And the amazing thing is that Van Halen, the original Van Halen, had played their last show that they ever played live together before the Hot for Teacher video was even shot.
That's right.
Isn't that incredible?
That's right.
4 days before they shot the video for Half a Teacher, they played their last show ever. In September, I think September 2nd or something like that, 1984 in Nuremberg, Germany. It just goes to kind of puts things in perspective. That's like, that's crazy. Backstage shots were Donington. Last show was Nuremberg, Keith says. But yeah, but Nuremberg, it's incredible to think that the last show there, the Hot for Teacher video hadn't even been filmed, and they were done as a band, a live band.
Yeah, that is just
sad.
Wrong. It's just wrong.
It's sad.
That was the beginning of the dark times.
Yeah.
That's what me and some of my friends from my era call them. The after 1984 awkwardness of Van Halen. It was tough living through it. It really was. You guys out there know, man. I remember being at a Ticketmaster trying to buy some tickets for I don't know who I was going to see, but the two friends of mine from high school were in line in front of me, and they got into almost a fist fight.
Beautiful.
Because one of them was no longer a Roth endorser. He hated him. He decided that Roth was not it, and Sammy was the future. And they almost threw blows at each other right there at a Ticketmaster. And that was the beginning of the whole.
To this day, Charles, it still happens.
Yeah, in the Van Halen world, man.
You go on a Facebook page and you'll see people fighting every day.
They're still fighting. It's just getting worse. It's never going to stop. It won't.
You're right.
Hey, just have to agree to disagree. I just learned to look. Here's what I lost. That's a fantastic.
I love
picture.
that shot.
I lost Sammy Hagar as I knew him, the Red Rocker, because he was not the same after that. Cool. And all the music he would have made and everything I loved from Montrose and everything he did up to I Can't Drive 55. I love Sammy Hagar. I was a big Sammy Hagar fan. And I was even a bigger Roth fan and a bigger Van Halen fan. And my whole world went to shit. Okay. It took
it's so funny, Chuck, it's so funny because I see what you're saying, but I feel the opposite. I feel like the original, I felt they were destined to implode. They had to explode, the original Van Halen. When you burn that hot and that bright, you just implode, you know? And I think I don't know where they would have went from there, or I in a way I like it because it was just like it was perfection for 6 albums. It was perfect. They did not, you know, Sting always says at the Police that they were at the top of the per album and it was just down from there, diminishing returns. He says it was just going to be, and Van Halen never had that. The original Van Halen, they never had the diminishing returns where they were on the way down.
Because they went to the top and then stopped.
Exactly, and then a new Van Halen started after that. So
and I get it. It took me a long time to accept the second era of Van Halen and accept it for what it is and appreciate it. It took me a while to appreciate it. And I thoroughly do now. I really do, honestly.
I agree.
But it took me a while, dude.
And he could have had anybody. He could have had Patty Smythe. I would still have been along for the ride. I just, I was an Eddie guy. You know what I mean? I wasn't really a Dave guy. I was an Eddie guy. But I appreciate Dave. I mean, they wouldn't have made it without Dave.
Anticipation of the next Van Halen album. When the first one came out, I'll tell you the story about sitting in my car with my friends and we were listening to Palos Verdes, looking at LA, listening to Van Halen. That's cool. Well, that was Van Halen 1. It just got better and better. And every time a new album came out, not only did I anticipate it, not only did my friends anticipate it, but it delivered every time. It was like, as long as Van Halen, okay, I'll tell you exactly how it was. And you guys in the channel, as long as Van Halen was making a new album, life was getting better. Things were on the move. It was positive. Yeah. And the anticipation for a new Van Halen album was.
That's a great picture, Tony.
It was unmeasurable. And then everything kind of just fell apart, man. I think if they'd have done one more album, I think if they would have, because it almost happened. It really didn't have to fall apart. It could have gone either way. Based on, I don't know. I'm just saying, based on the things I've heard, it could have gone either way. Dave had another really great Van Halen album in him. He really did.
Yeah.
And check this picture out.
Right.
And Alex has got another OU812 shirt on.
Oh, yeah. That's great with Metallica. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really an iconic photograph.
That's a great shot.
Right on. I'm trying to find one in here that would give them a hint about trivia for tonight. But I'm
they're not going to get it.
I think I'm past.
There's a lot of great pictures of the 5150 guitar in that book, Tony.
Oh, I know. Goodness.
That's a great shot right there.
A great shot. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And again, today is Wolf's birthday. I like this shot of Sam.
Yeah, look at that. That looks like similar to the guitar Eddie played on a Cabo Wabo. I wonder if that was it. I wonder if he's using that. No, I guess that's Sammy's own guitar. It's got the 55 sticker, but Eddie had a 12 string.
I know, it looks like a 12-string Telecaster.
Yeah, I think, and I'm pretty sure Eddie used something like that on Cabo Wabo. It had the headstock like that. It might have been like a Strat with that type of headstock or something on it. I forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they only one way to rock. They didn't open up with one way to rock when I saw them, but they
In
did
88,
second.
They did
second.
AFU.
They did AFU live at Monsters and on the Arena 88 tour. Yeah. I didn't see it but they did change that around. It wasn't always.
That's great.
Yeah. So there's more. It goes all the way up to, let's find. All right. Yeah, so now we're getting into this.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a great mic pick.
Yeah. So there's lots of those. Let's see what's. And yeah, I mean, there's even this. And,
look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen that photo session, I don't think, before. That's a cool book, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Man,
wow.
That's it right there.
And a couple just cool ones at the end.
Yeah, I love that shot there. I didn't realize he took that shot there of Eddie with the guitar over his shoulder.
Yeah, could we see that again?
That's a great.
I've never seen that picture. I don't think. Have you?
I think you have, Charles. Wait,
see it.
Yeah, that one on the right.
I have. I have.
On the right. I
love
the
one on the right, though.
That's one of my favorite pictures of Eddie there. That photo.
That's cool. Right That's cool,
man. But yeah, awesome book. I think this is like.
Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
I wish they had more pictures like that of this guitar. There's not that many like that of this one.
Yeah, up close like that. But there are a lot of pictures of that guitar, though.
Yeah, there are.
Wow. Check this out.
Well, that's one where he has the writing on the back of the neck. This is the shit, I think. Is that what it says?
Yeah. He was the king of fashion, wasn't he?
I was during the dark days there.
Yeah, and there's a couple of more shirtless. Well, oh, this is so cool. I have never seen this. It's shirtless, not because it's shirtless is not why.
Now that is a picture. Look at that.
I wonder if he took that shot for the cover of Guitar World, the one where Eddie looked really bad, that they were a little angry about. I think Chris Gill was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one? He just looked terrible. He's holding the guitar like this, and he looked like his face looked like they did tons of makeup or retouched it. It was just really weird looking photo.
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful book, Tony.
I'm gonna try to get this back in here. This thing is so dang heavy.
Yeah, Holly, I would have liked to have heard the second album with Gary Sharon. I know somebody that heard it and even had one of the tracks. And apparently, I didn't get to hear it, but I heard somebody that did get to hear it or something, and they said it was very good. It was really good.
So there it is.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Ross.
I like that logo, the way it's done too.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Excellent, man.
So I saw that the link was in there. So right on.
Right on.
Yeah. Hang on.
And then there was silence. Tony's gone.
Exactly.
You got control, man.
Yeah, that's a great book because people out there, while there are a lot of pictures of the 5150 guitar, there's not many really like good, high, quality.
A lot in the Smithsonian,
And everyone is like your builders, there are weird angles or stuff like that. You can't really get a great straight on shot. It's either tilting forward, it's leaning back, it's a little off,
Yeah.
And it's, Oh, what is that?
One you've got right there in your hands is really nice, bro.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm doing another one.
That's what I'm having Neil. The next build Neil's doing. That's what he's building me.
Yeah.
We'll compare them.
I've been working on it for months. The one I'm doing now. So I took a 1984 Kramer body, and I I'm like crazy about like the shape of it. Things being wrong. It's like a lot of them. Like if you look at the 1984, like off the rack, it's just way too wide.
Right.
Like,
You're absolutely right.
And so this one I worked on, and the hip on this guitar is almost straight on the real guitar. If you look at it, so I got it last July. Let's put it this way, and I haven't painted it yet or anything because I sit and I just look at every picture and I sculpt it. I sand it, like change the shape of the horns. And
if you don't stop doing that, pretty soon you're going to have nothing but a Steinberg.
Yeah,
exactly. So you mentioned Neil earlier. Neil did send me a couple of updates.
Oh yeah, I saw some, Tony. I saw a picture that he posted. A test picture. You got it?
Yeah.
And that's with actual tape, but he's going to do it with paint, right?
And this is the back.
Dude, that thing is looking killer.
So he's routed, he's sanded,
wow. Okay.
he's base painted, but where it's gonna be there, it's gonna have very slight natural relicking, but that's already kind of done, built in. You can kind of see on the back where it's already kind of, but what I think he's gonna do is use tape but clear coat it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's
a great idea. That'll be cool. And he's doing the headstock too, correct?
He is. He's going to match the colors.
That's cool.
Of that. And
yeah, different take on it. That's awesome.
That's such a
So
cool guitar, dude.
It really
it's
is.
that guitar right there. So,
There it is.
yeah. So, but yeah, the same but slightly different. You know.
Has she given you any kind of an ETA on expecting it, Tony?
No. Yeah. So no.
All I'm saying is he can't build mine till he finishes yours. So
I'm sure Neil has, being in a new place and being a newlywed, Neil has many irons in the fire.
he is a multitasker.
Yeah.
You
So
got that right.
when I hear some news, I will certainly pass it along.
We all know it's going to be
will.
beautiful because he
You know
does
I will.
really good work. So I'm excited.
Am I hearing something? I hear you.
There you go.
All right.
It's magic. Magic.
So if we do trivia now, then that means there's more time that they'll have to search for the answer.
You're going to have to give these guys some time because I don't think they're going to get it this time.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think so.
I don't think they are either.
Okay, I don't want to say I don't think so. I don't want to go quite that far. I do mean it. You guys, this is a good question. You guys are going to have to dig.
So let me say this, though, and I will say this, and I'll only say this once. When I write these questions, I do try to make them really hard, but obviously you guys who are watching are really good. So, but I've always known about this book. I never had this book before. I only bought this book out of curiosity. And in the past day or two, I've read this book. And it's that book right there. Okay? But I'll tell you.
Tony, you don't use that book for this trivia, though.
Dude. Everybody in the chat and everybody watching would probably get every answer to every question in that book. You know.
Yeah.
It's that easy. All right. Okay. Unlike tonight's. Right, Sandra? All right. Good luck. There is a trivia winner's email down below. I'm going to send you a fair warning peel off unused pass from 1981. Yes. Good luck. Get ready to type, or we'll move on after a moment because I don't think they're going to get it.
History starts now.
Are you ready? All right. Van Halen Trivia coming at you 3/16/2022. Happy birthday, Wolfgang.
Happy birthday, Wolfgang.
Playing in Chicago tonight. Neil, I hope you're there.
So.
All right, here we go. All right. The two-sided white guitar picks that we all saw Eddie using on the 1984 were first used live at what show?
I'll be right back, guys.
They did it. They did it anyway. They did it.
Wow. You got to be kidding me.
He knows
Charles is going to be
guitar
shocked
picks.
when he comes back.
Larry's gear. Right on, brother.
Larry,
you know
right
what
on.
you are talking about. And it is the US Festival, so the evolution of Eddie's guitar picks always was tortoise. 78, 79, 80, 81, there were two versions. 82, there was one. But in 84, he had the white with the VH logo on one side and his script on the other. And later in the 84 tour, they made other colors. They got over to Europe, but that first debuted, if you watch those US Festival clips, it first debuted at the US Festival on May the 29th, 1983. Sir Charles Green was right there with them.
And they got it fast, didn't they?
They did. Totally, Chuck. You wouldn't believe it. As soon as you walked away, it was like, boom.
And who got it?
Larry's gear got it.
Larry's gear. Thanks for being here.
That's awesome.
Thanks to everybody.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah, Larry's gear. Right on. Fair warning pass coming your way, sir. Thank you for being here.
Dude, that is absolutely cool.
Yeah, dude.
I did not think they'd get it that fast. Tony, what are we going to do here, man? These guys are good.
The US Festival was 83. You're correct. May of 83. And they marched out on the 84 tour in January of 84. But with those guitar picks, but they first showed up at the US Festival.
Wow.
Yep. Yepper.
Very cool, man.
They did, dude. But yeah, they're most commonly, if you look at that particular guitar pick, you call it by name the 84 pick, you know. But yeah, it started at the US Festival.
That's excellent trivia.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I'm curious, John. So back to when they were putting little bass parts on pieces and doing different things with drums. They were just truly having fun in a new building, a new racquetball court.
Yeah.
That they had built that had everything that they needed to where they didn't have to leave the house.
Yeah.
You know, and they could do it all there.
A lot of people might point to that as one of the reasons that Van Halen broke up.
Yeah.
That studio. Ultimately. Yeah. Because Dave, what did he call it? Howdy Doody Mountain. I always loved that when Dave would call it, oh, they're up on Howdy Doody Mountain. I guess that's what he called it up there. But, and that's when Ed kind of took control of everything too, was when that was the center of everything, that place there. And, so yeah, I guess, and he was happy to just basically stay in there, obviously, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can only imagine what's on those tapes that are up there. And, I mean, when you hear, anytime a band says that, oh, that was the first take and, like that. I always find that hard to believe. I go, yeah, they're full of it. There's just no way that, you get something like that as brilliant as that on the first take. But you know what? I think that some bands were just so magically talented that the first take is could be the magic one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm starting to believe that more, where I used to just say, no, that's just crap. They're lying. They're full of it. But I do think when a band is in there, that, how like athletes are in the zone and when they're at the best part of their career and they can just do no wrong. I feel like bands are in the same way. And I feel like Van Halen, even though they stretched it out for, a long period of their career, believe it or not, from like when the first album came out, they stretched that out even into the Sammy years. They were just, they couldn't do anything wrong. They had a long run as far as that, where most bands, they hit that peak, the parabola, and then they come down, and then that's it. But they made it last a long time, so they did have something magical, special about them. And when you hear that they say they did, some things on one take, I actually believe it. Where some bands I don't. I always talk about the Police. Stuart Copeland said the other day that song "Murdered by Numbers." I don't know if you've ever heard it by the Police.
Sure.
He said that was literally one take. They were sitting around the dinner table, and Sting had lyrics, and Andy Summers had that guitar part. And he said the two of them were sitting there working at it, and I'm tapping on the table. And he goes, we got up, and we were on this island, called Montserrat, and there was nothing to do really there. And the studio was right there. The guy from the Beatles, George Martin, owned this big complex there. It was in a house, basically. It wasn't a big complex. And they ran downstairs into the studio, and he started playing the drums. And right as the guy clicked the tape, that long intro on the drums, and he goes, and that what you hear is the one take, and that was it. That was the one that's on the record. You know what I mean? So and they were in that zone that I'm talking about. That Van Halen one is right around that same period of time in the 80s, that in 83. That so when you hear stuff like that, it's
where did Dave record his vocals at on 1984?
He did it at 5150.
And also the other stuff in the 90s too.
I don't believe so. I know.
I think only 84 is.
Sorry, he did. He did record Me Wise Magic. He can't get this stuff no more. He did that in at 5150. He did because that after things went bad, that was Ed and Alex would take the shots at him saying, yeah, we did the music in 3 takes, and it took him 2 weeks to do the vocals. You know what I mean? I guess they'd probably have to punch in line after line, and it was never sung completely through. It was just every line had to be punched in just to make sure it sounded good at that point. So they kind of used that against Dave.
I don't think that was fair.
No, I guess it's just part of their history, all of them. Dave would take shots at them. They would take shots at Dave,
That is very true. Absolutely.
I'm going to open something up here, man.
Uh-oh, unboxing.
A little Van Halen related stuff.
Tracy, will 5150 be a historical marker someday?
Very good question, Tracy.
Yeah.
Of course it will. I would say yes.
You would hope. And the fact that Wolfgang is moving in there or moved in there, the house, and he's keeping the studio, and he said he wants to record there for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good about that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's in good hands still, obviously. And, I would hate to see somebody bulldoze that place like they do every other house in LA, every other, beautiful house or some place that has some kind of meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd hate to see it just get bulldozed in a big white McMansion box, put in its place.
Yeah.
That seems to be what happens there,
Well, actually, you just spent your vacation overlooking 5150, John.
Yeah.
What did the landscape look like? Was it like what you were just describing, or how would the longevity be of that particular home? It's modern. Yeah. It's not a,
It's like a beautiful Tudor house. It was, it's weird. Like the road, the driveway up there, seems to be falling apart. I guess it's a private road. It's like all the neighbors have to chip in to get it repaved and stuff like that. And they need to chip in, I think, and get some of it repaved.
Yeah. Well, in their defense, every road up there is like that.
Yeah. On the side of the mountain where I stayed, it was just like the mudslides and everything. It was like, you know, you could see the dirt all over the roads and just
yeah.
erosion everywhere. You
Yeah.
know, on the,
Yeah.
But
This guy's got this thing
pretty cool.
packed, dude.
I would
I'm
hope
trying.
that place would become a historical landmark.
Yeah.
If
You
any
know what?
place in LA should be a historical landmark,
I agree with you, but
5150 should be one.
But sadly, I don't think people think
Well,
that way out there. They just
I
bulldoze.
don't necessarily agree, simply because that's private property. It's somebody
That is true.
that wants their privacy. Somebody who really we should. It's that will be private property surely for at least the rest of our lives, us guys here.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's
mean,
true. That's true.
so, but what's to come in the, you know, I'm sure. Yeah.
Tracy asks the question, can you see 5150 from the road? I believe
No.
you can, can't you? You can
No,
see the
you
top,
can't.
just the top corner of the building?
No, you can't even see that. You
Really?
can't. You can't see it from anywhere, even from the back gate. You can't see it anywhere.
Oh,
Believe it or not, it sits up high, you know, higher than the house and everything, but you can't see it. Oh, there you go. 2014. That's a cool one.
So, John, when you were up there, you were up above it then, looking down.
I was actually below it. I was about
okay.
But I was only about 1,700 feet away. It was close.
Only.
It was close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I used to have one of these things a long time ago. That was in 1986, and you know, lots has. You keep stuff. Certain things go by the wayside. In 1986, but I've never found one. But I think I found one. But in the merch, they had a keychain, okay, that if I can get this thing open.
Holly, I think Lindsay Wagner's house was above the studio there, and that's why she used to complain, I guess, when the door was open that it was loud. She could hear it up there. But I don't think it was ever a racquetball court. I think they just lied on the permit that they were building a racquetball court. And when the building inspector came out, the main room is like, you know, the size, like I know the main studio room was like 17 by 35. I have a picture of it somewhere, like a drawing of that. Oh, that's cool, Tony. Check that out. That is awesome.
That's way cool.
That is so cool.
And it's a little bit heavy of
that
a ball.
Is sick.
I used to have one. Now I got one again, man.
That is cool.
That, dude.
Somebody should remake those. That is so cool.
I know.
Nice. Very nice, too.
Get on that, Tony.
Very nice, dude.
But this was the 86.
That is
and
awesome.
I had one. And I've never been able to find another one until now. So.
Yeah, I'll find that drawing. I have somewhere. I don't know if it's a drawing or what it is, but it actually says I'm pretty sure it was like 17 by 35, the main room at 5150. So it's like 35 feet long and 17 feet wide or something like that. And I guess that's what they were trying to pass off as the racquetball court to the building inspectors or whatever. But, you know, saying that.
Yeah.
But like Eddie said, you know, the center block was filled with concrete, I guess, inside. So they're like, why are the walls so thick or, you know, stuff like that. And what do you say? Oh, because I hit the ball hard or something like that. But obviously they got away with it, you know. But and they had other problems with it too because you know in LA you weren't allowed to have private, you know, recording studios that were used for, you know,
Commercial. You're not supposed to do
commercially,
commercial
you got
work
it, Chuck.
on residential property.
Right. And then they had other problem was that they were getting interference. There was like a 5-watt radio station up there on the top of the hill there. And they were getting like interference from they're in the studio. So they had an engineer come in and they had to, you can see some pictures of it. They lined all the walls of 5150 inside with chicken wire. It was like before they put the walls up, they had chicken wire all over the insulation behind it or whatever, and chicken wire all over the walls before they put the wood panels over it.
To encapsulate the inside.
You got
walls.
it. They encapsulated
that is so
it
cool.
to keep the radio from interfering in there with it. So
I bet they used to piss Lindsay Wagner off because it was loud up in there, man. They cranked it up.
I thought I had heard somewhere that he bought her house at some point or something like that too, but I don't know if that's true or not, or she just moved. But Holly, I think it was some kind of Faraday cage. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it was. But it was all regular like chicken wire. If you see the pictures, it was like I just thought that was kind of weird. It's like, why do they have chicken wire all over the walls there? And in the main room there's like a closet area. I believe that was the vocal booth. Like when you see them walking out in the video with Andy Johns when they did Won't Get Fooled Again, they walk out the door into the main studio room there, and that was the whole studio right there before Alex's drum room where the sliding glass doors are in the back. That wasn't there. That was the back wall where the glass is now, and that's where they recorded the drums. Even OU812, the drums are recorded in that room. And I know Eddie had his amp in a closet, a 412 cabinet mic'd up in a closet to try to give it some separation for OU812. But in that main room, if you're walking through the door, off to the right, there's like a closet thing there. And that was like the vocal booth, I guess, what they use sometimes for the vocals. But I think other times they just, Sammy would be out there recording the vocals. And I know sometimes even in the control room, he recorded vocals. And Eddie always sat in the control room and recorded the guitars, listening just through the monitors there. So, but as soon as they blew that back wall out and they put the drum room on there for Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge, that's when the drums really started to sound good. For that, listen to Balance and even Van Halen 3, the drums, they sound a little lo-fi. Alex really was going for that like Zeppelin kind of sound, low fidelity kind of sound with just a lot of ambient mics in the room and stuff like that. But it still sounds good. You listen to the beginning of Without You, the drums sound very Bonham-ish, very But if you compare that with like Balance, and it's just Balance just sounds huge and in like stereo and warm. It's just like and wide, just like dynamically just wide. And that's a credit to Plotnikov was the engineer on that one, and Bruce Fairbairn and Mike Frazier mixed that album, and those guys are the best. And those Canadian guys, there needs to be a book about them. You know what I mean? Like because they ruled in the 80s. You know what I mean? At Little Mountain Sound, and then at in Vancouver, and then over at the Warehouse, Brian Adams' studio that he built there. I mean, those guys exclusively work out of that. They still. Fairbairn is dead, but the other guys still work out of the Warehouse. And if you go on Instagram and the Warehouse has a page in there, but look at that studio. It's just an amazing, it's like 100-something-year-old brick building. And it's the albums that were made in there. Like I think I forget how many AC/DC albums were recorded in that place in there. The last 3 or 4, maybe more, were recorded in there. And the same guys worked on them all. And Bob Rock, they did the Metallica albums up there at Little Mountain, and he works exclusively out of that Warehouse studio. Those guys got some incredible sounds. And as we all know, Metallica heard Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood, which was done up there. And that's why they heard the drum sound on Dr. Feelgood, that beginning, dun, 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 dun. They heard the drums, and they were like, we want that. So that's how they, Bob Rock came into their lives, for good or bad, because some people don't like that, the Black Album, Metallica, but, it sounds phenomenal, that album. So
I like it.
I like it. Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, I had no problem with it. I knew Metallica, but I really went backwards on them after the Black Album.
So I think Sandra mentioned earlier on that we need to do another deep dive. What do we call it?
Listening
Diving
party?
down on.
Diving down on. That's it. That we need to
Yeah.
do another one of those. And
Yeah.
we're working on something, and it looks pretty good, and it's going to be pretty big. It's going to be pretty big. I don't want to say any more because the schedules have to line up, but it's I think it's really big, and I can't wait because
No, it's huge. It's
and,
huge. We
and
just can't talk about it.
I'm gonna be. I'll let you guys know now. I'm gonna be asking 50 million. I'm gonna hog this. You're gonna have to squeeze questions in there because I got a lot of questions. But I don't want to say any more. But all I can tell you is that it's a guy, and he's the nicest
Hi.
nicest
Welcome.
guy.
No, I'm kidding.
He's the nicest guy. I'll say that. And all we just got to arrange schedules, and hopefully it's going to happen. But that will be probably our next listening party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all
That's
we'll
going
say
to
for
be a
now.
fun
But
listening
and
party.
hopefully it'll be in April, early April. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's looking good. It's looking good. It's it's penciled in. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And we're not going to tell them now, but we already have a piece of music that we are going to dive down on in April.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not a Van Halen member. Let's get that out of the way. It's definitely not a Van Halen member. So I don't want to get these hopes up too much. You know,
it's
nothing like that. But
No, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. We will have a lot to talk about if at that time. So, but we'll dive down, and then we'll have a nice conversation too. So
yeah.
Really,
and there'll be a really cool reason why we're diving down on this piece of music with this certain someone.
That's right.
Yeah.
So keep your fingers crossed that the schedules work out. That's the only thing, and it should. Everything should, because he told me he's got it written down on his schedule. So hopefully everything will work out from there. But
excellent.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
all right. Kids, before we get gone, once again, Wolf, happy birthday, dude.
Absolutely, man. 31 today, guys. 31 years old. I swear to God, it was just yesterday. He was that little kid standing on stage for the first time. I swear the look on Eddie's face. You want to talk about a proud father. So cool, man. So cool.
I remember, where is it at? I remember the first time he walked out on a stage.
Yes, you do,
with
don't
his dad.
You? Yes, you do.
You want to say something?
You see that pic?
Opening night, dude. He's
nice.
come a long way. Happy birthday, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, and a shout out to Lenny Lou. Lenny Lou and Mary. We haven't seen you, Lenny. Get well, sweetheart. She's been ill, and we want you to get better. We love you. Also, Analog Kid. We haven't seen you in a minute, and we miss you. Get well, brother. Mm-hmm. Get well. And then also, and I said it before, Tommy boy, we love you. It was so good seeing you.
Yeah, Tom.
Just keep getting better.
Nice to see you, dude. So hopefully our friend Neil is at the House of Blues in Chicago watching Mammoth right now. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Neil is hot at work, and any new updates, I will pass them along. But Neil's links are down below. If you want something built, hit him up. Neil Daly Custom Designs. If you want guitar picks made, Greg at Legend Picks will certainly take care of you. Great guy, great service, great product, great experience. He's made picks for all these people. Yeah. made picks for us as well. If you want a cool cigar box guitar, we know a guy, Brendan B. Squared.
Custom, guys.
Yeah, he can make you something like this. Um, and they are handsome as they can be.
Nice. Very cool. Very
Um,
cool.
thank you, Brendan. Yeah. And if you didn't see Brendan on Sunday doing the swan dive in that cold lake, go check out the replay on that one.
He's still trying to get warm.
Oh, goodness. Um, yeah. He did it, though.
Yes, he did.
He
Yes,
did
he
it.
did. Very proud of him. Him and his.
Um, and upcoming, and I am very happy to say, um, hadn't seen a lot of this guy lately, but he works a lot, so we catch up when we can. He lives in our area, and we've been to many concerts before. We've been to many concerts that we didn't know we were at the same time. But this Saturday on Show Me Your Pick, well, we're going to talk about Velvet Revolver with Ty Price.
Wow.
Very cool. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. We haven't
Uh,
seen Ty in a minute, Tony.
yeah, I know. Ty
Yeah.
joined us. Ty was our guest when we did Guns N' Roses a
That's
while
right.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Him and his wife. That was very, very
yeah.
cool.
And we got to go see a show with Ty. Charles and me did. That was so much fun. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Um, yeah.
We're in there somewhere, brother.
There we are.
That's it.
What's a great picture?
I'm standing by the palm tree, bro.
Yeah. Do I know your mother? And
Look at my cool coffee mug I got from
There you
Holly
go.
Lewis. It says Eddie Van Halen, you guys. I love it. Thank you,
right
Holly.
on. Kids, I guess we are gonna call it a night. Thank you for hanging out with Charles Green, John, me, Sandra.
Be well, you
Um,
guys.
always love Wednesday night talking about Van Halen. We got a Mammoth show coming up, Charles, April the 5th.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we
One,
do.
2, 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks away, dude.
Time's flying.
At that place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some loud music, guys. I need to hear some loud live music.
So that's on a Tuesday, April the 5th.
That's the only downside, man. Before they reschedule the singles on what a Saturday night, man. We had it made.
I know.
I had it
I
made.
know. The
So I have it.
reschedule
I have it.
is a
It's going to be like
weeknight.
2 hours and 45-minute drive.
We were
It's
looking
worth
at
every
the
second.
weekend and making a weekend. Now it's a week of work. But I know, but still,
Nah, it's fine. It's fine.
we're going to be going live here
Yes, we will.
in some capacity 5, 6 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday, April the 5th. We'll probably still do a Wednesday show the day after. But yeah, look for something live for the Mammoth Dirty Honey. In a few weeks, Raleigh at the Ritz. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yep,
When are
Christopher
they?
Sauer, you got that right, brother.
When are they in your area, John?
They are the 20, I think the 28th. I might be going. I'm just waiting to find out because I got to find out the regulations because somebody that wants to go is not into the vaccinations. You know, in New York, it's like you got to be vaccinated to, you know.
They don't meet the criteria.
They don't meet the criteria. So,
Yeah.
but I think that they, you know, they were asking for your vaccine card, but I don't know if they're doing that anymore. I'm not sure. I got conflicting reports, so I have to find out before because he's supposed to go with me. So if he's not going, I'm
Yeah.
not going by myself.
Well, I mean, if how old is he?
26.
He can drive though, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here.
He's not
Of
driving the
course.
lower, not driving the lower Manhattan,
Give him the keys and $100.
the East Village. He's not driving down there. Not in New York nowadays. Trust me.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
People murdering homeless people here now. You know.
I know. I heard that.
Although they got that guy, I believe. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, kids. We are going to be out of here. Everybody, so nice to see you. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, you be well, you guys.
Yeah. And we'll be right back here next Wednesday talking Van Halen and Mammoth WVH. Of course. I'm trying to find something here while I talk. I got it. All right. We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye, kids.
Be well.
Any last word, Charles Green?
Hey, guys, just don't forget, this is Halenville. Doesn't matter if you go north, south, east, or west. Every single road leads straight to Van Halen. Be well. Have a great week. Everybody out there I was mentioning who's sick, we love you and we want you back. Rock on, you guys. Have a good week.